Hey, welcome to NewPointe Online. My name's Kyle, and I'm the Adult Ministry Director here at the Dover campus. We want you to know that this online service has been built with you in mind. So wherever, whenever, however you are watching, welcome. We hope that something you see today really impacts you and inspires you to take a next step in your faith. We're so excited you're here. Let's get started.
You've been down long enough, no more walking in shame, 'cause the way that he loves you isn't something you can change. You've been running in circles, but you can't hide from grace, 'cause the way that he loves you isn't something you can change. Just like Lazarus out of that grave, our God rewrites history. Jesus, you change everything when you pour your spirit out. Just like Silas singing with Paul, praise can break down prison walls. Jesus, you can have it all when you pour your spirit out. You can rest in his presence, you can trust in his name, 'cause his burden is easy and he's perfect in his ways. You can run to the Father, there's no reason to wait, 'cause his arms have been open, and that's not something you can change. Just like Lazarus out of that grave, our God rewrites history. Jesus, you change everything when you pour your spirit out. Just like Silas singing with Paul, praise can break down prison walls. Jesus, you can have it all when you pour your spirit out. Just like Lazarus out of that grave, our God rewrites history. Jesus, you change everything when you pour your spirit out. Just like Silas singing with Paul, praise can break down prison walls. Jesus, you can have it all when you pour your spirit out. Pour your spirit out. Say, pour your spirit out. 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 All we have to do is ask. All we have to do is seek. All we have to do is just ask, seek, knock, watch the door swing wide open. Roll back that stone. Roll back that stone. Roll back that stone. Roll back that stone. All we have to do is just ask, seek, knock, watch the door swing wide open. Roll back that stone. Roll back. Come on. That stone. Roll back that stone. Roll back. All we have to do is just ask, seek, knock, watch the door swing wide open. Roll back that stone. Roll back that stone. Roll back that stone. Roll back that. All we have to do is just ask, seek, knock. God, pour your spirit out. Pour your spirit out. Pour it out, God. Pour it out, God. On our circumstances, would you pour it out in every one of our lives? Would you pour your spirit out? Pour your spirit out. Pour your spirit out. Say, pour your spirit out. Pour your spirit out. Pour your spirit out. Say, guys. Pour your spirit out on every circumstance, everything we're going through, every single thing that we go through. Yeah. Pour your spirit out. Pour your spirit out. Yes. Yes.
A few years ago, a question was asked of a group of people, and the answer was not ideal, okay? And the question was this: so what word best describes Christians? I wish I could tell you that the answer was they're loving, they're kind, they're patient, they're people of integrity, they're generous. But that wasn't the answer that was given. The answer that was given was they're judgmental. Wow. What a statement against us. And maybe you're not a Christ follower, and maybe you have felt that. And I just want to say, I'm sorry, because that's not really representing Jesus Christ. You see, John 3:16, maybe you're familiar with that, says, "For God so loved the world that he gave his one and only Son, that whosoever believes in him should not perish, but have" what? Eternal life. You're probably familiar with that verse. Are you familiar with verse 17? "For God did not send his Son into the world to condemn the world, to judge the world, but that the world might be saved through him." And so if we're going to follow Jesus, okay, our main responsibility is not to judge people. It's to lead them to salvation. It's to lead them to have a personal, intimate relationship with their Creator and to experience him as the loving Heavenly Father that he is. And so that's our responsibility. And yet what happens is we can get caught up into this judgmentalism, right? I mean, you may not know where this comes from. It comes from the Sermon on the Mount, Matthew chapter 7, verses 1 through 2. But I'm sure that you've heard this, okay? It says, "Do not judge, or you too will be judged," right? You've heard that. You might have even quoted that and didn't even know where it came from. But Jesus is saying, do not judge, for you too will be judged. For in the same measure, in the same way that you judge other people, it'll be measured back to you. You know what that is? That's a wake-up call. That's a sobering thought. And so if that's true, and it is, why do we judge people? Let me give you a couple of reasons. One would be just out of guilt. Out of guilt. We want to excuse our failures, don't we? Absolutely. We don't want to focus on us. We want to focus on other people. And so I'm here to point out all the failures in other people's lives so that you won't look at the failures in my life. And so we judge other people because of guilt. I mean, this goes all the way back to Adam and Eve. Adam sinned, and what did he do? He excused his behavior, but he accused his wife, and we've been doing it ever since. Another reason is just pride. We want to feel superior to other people, right? And when I judge you, when I point out your wrongs and your issues, then what happens is it kind of makes me feel better about myself. It's a false security, but what happens is we go there. And so we judge quickly because of guilt. You know what? We want to excuse our failures. And because of pride, we want to feel superior to other people. Now, you know, in the past 2.5 years, okay, we've been frustrated. We've experienced long-term stress and anxiousness, and we're tired, and we've experienced fatigue. And you know what all that does? It feeds into you and I becoming more judgmental. Because when we're tired, when we experience fatigue, you know, we just don't have that energy. And so we go to a default and we judge people. And yet it doesn't help our relationships at all. Whether it's at home, whether it's at the workplace, whether it's with our family or friends, it just doesn't. And so what I want to do is I just want to help us with this. And I want you to know, man, I'm not talking from an expert position. Man, I'm a student in this. I've got to learn and grow, because what happens is self-righteous people gets fixated on other people's problems. Have I ever done that? Absolutely. Have I ever been self-righteous? Absolutely. And self-righteous people lack self-awareness because they don't understand their own need. They don't understand their own issues. And so we're all in this together, okay? And so I just want to help you, and I just want to share with you what I'm continuing to work on in my own life. And so why shouldn't we judge other people? Well, one is I don't know all the facts. We get sound bites, we get segments, we get bits and pieces. But the fact of the matter is we don't know all the facts. We just don't know all the facts. You don't know the whole story. And Proverbs tells us that it's really dumb, it's stupid, it's ignorant to make a decision before you know all the facts. And so you'll never fully know all the facts. There's only one person who knows all the facts, and that's God himself. And that's why he's ultimately the judge and not you and me. So secondly, it's I don't know their motives. You don't know anybody's motives. You know, I like to say, you know what, we struggle with understanding our own motives. And yet in our arrogance, in our self-righteousness, I know why they did that. No, you don't. You might have an idea, but you don't know, because nobody knows the heart. It says that men look on the outward appearance, but God looks at the heart. Only God knows the motive of people. And so I shouldn't judge people because I don't have all the facts, but I don't know their motivation. And you know what? It'll eventually come out. God will eventually reveal it. Maybe not in the time that you want it, but it'll eventually come out. My mom had a saying, and she'd always tell us kids this. She said, hey, you know what? Time and truth don't always run hand in hand. Basically saying, hey, you know what? Sometimes it takes a little bit for truth to catch up with time, and it will. And so I don't know their motives. The third reason is I will be judged by the standard that I use. Wow. That's a sobering thought. And so, you know, how do I want to be judged? Well, let me go for, I just don't want to be judged. Do you want to be judged? I don't want to be judged. But if you're going to judge me, take in my whole history. Take in the account of the family that I grew up in. Take in the account of the trauma and the abuse that I've had in my life. Take in the account of my experiences of life. Take into account my insecurities. Take into account my fears and my temptation. Because you know what? They all play a role in why I do what I do, okay? And so what happens is, he says here, he says that I will be judged by the standard that I use. And so what he's saying is whatever standard you use, Dwight, it's going to come back on you. And so if I don't want you to judge me, then I probably shouldn't judge you. But if I do judge you, or if you do judge me, you probably want me to take in the whole what? The whole account. Don't take a word that I said in a heated moment. Don't take a behavior when I was weak. Take my whole story. And if you take my whole story, it's going to probably change the way in which you view me and the way in which you deal with me. And then finally, I have blind spots. Jesus goes on to say in Matthew chapter 7, he says, why do you look at the sawdust in your brother's eye or your sister's eye and refuse to take the plank out of your own eye? Now, here's the interesting thing, okay? And Jesus is an unbelievable teacher, okay? He says, no, there's something wrong with them. They've got something in their eye. The only problem is you got something more major in your eye, and you're unwilling to deal with it. You're so fixated on that speck in their eye that you're missing the stuff and the sin in your own eye. And so here's what he says. He says, take the plank out of your own eye so that you can clearly see the sawdust in their eye. And what he's saying is, hey, Dwight, if you will get more concerned about what's going on in your life and your world and your issues and your sin and your stuff, and if you'll deal with that, then what happens is that'll help you to be able to speak into a friend's life, a spouse's life, a son or a daughter. Hey, Dad, you want your kids to listen to you more? Then deal with the plank in your eye first. And when you deal with the plank in your eye, when you deal with your own blind spots, it's humbling. Believe you me, I've been there. I've done that, okay? And a blind spot is something that you're not aware of. So you become aware of it, and when you become aware of it, you know what you do? This is the humbling part. You announce it to people. Like I've told our staff, hey, I can talk too much. I'm opinionated, okay? I can become defensive. And so what happens is those are no longer blind spots. Those are weaknesses. I've made them public. Those are the specks in my eye. And so now I've given them permission. Hey, if I'm talking too much, just say, hey, Dwight, we'd like to hear from somebody else, okay? Or maybe I'm pushing too strong on my opinion, or maybe I've become defensive. And see, what happens is I need to deal with the plank in my own eye, not just for Dwight, but for you, because to judge not does not equate to care not. And see, if I deal with my own issues and I deal with it in a right way that honors God and pleases God, then it humbles me. It makes me gentle. It makes me compassionate. So what happens is that allows me, because if I truly love you, and you're doing something that's going to bring death, I need to speak life into it. If you're doing something that's taking you down a dark path, if I truly love you, I need to speak light into it. But I first need to take care of my own issues so that when I do speak into your life, you'll know it comes from a genuine, kind, loving, humble heart. Y'all okay? And so Jesus is saying to you and me, if you love one another, you're going to speak life and light into one another's life where there's death and there's darkness, because he wants the best for us and we should want the best for one another. The psalmist says it like this. He says, let the words of my mouth and the meditation of my heart be pleasing to you, O Lord. Man, what a great prayer. If you and I would just wake up every day and say, God, let my words be pleasing to you. Let them build up and not tear down. Let them set free and not oppress, okay? Let them bring life and not death. And the meditation of my heart, that means how I think about things, how I think about you, how I think about my wife, how I think about my kids, how I think about my boss. Let them be pleasing to you. And if we do that, then you know what we'll do? We'll be men and women who will speak life into death and will speak light into darkness. Would you pray with me? Maybe today you need to know this Jesus who speaks life and light. And you can by saying a simple yet life-transforming prayer. You can just say, Jesus, as much as I know how and understand, I need life in my life, and I need light in my life. Come into me, forgive me of my sins, and be what you need to be. Fill me with your joy, your peace, your grace, and help me to develop and nurture this relationship with you. If you've done that, would you let us know? For others of us, you know what? We've done that. But our prayer needs to be, God, let my words and my thoughts to other people and about other people be pleasing to you so that I can be helpful and not hurtful in their lives. And so, Father, we thank you for your word. We thank you for your truth, and we pray all of this in Jesus' name. Amen.
Hey, thanks again for joining us today. We hope something you heard has inspired you to follow Jesus, maybe for the first time. Or maybe you want to grow in your relationship with him by taking a next step in your faith journey. If you've been around NewPointe much at all, you've probably noticed that next steps are a big deal around here. And if you're ready to take your next step, would you come and learn more at newpointe.org/nextstep? While you're there, check out our in-person and online options for Discover NewPointe. It's another great place to learn more about taking your next step. And if you made a decision for Jesus today or just need to talk to someone, we'd love to hear about it, and we want to be there for you. So feel free to reach out to us through a DM, comment below, or by visiting our website at newpointe.org/contact us. We hope something from today has impacted and inspired you. And if so, would you share it with a friend? This service and the ministry of NewPointe is only made possible thanks to the generosity of others. And so if you would like to partner with us in inspiring people to follow Jesus, you can visit newpointe.org/give or download our mobile app and give there. And if you already give, we want to say thank you for that. Your faithful giving is making an incredible impact. To see more content like this, please follow us on our social channels and like and subscribe to keep up to date with everything NewPointe. Once again, thank you for joining us today. We hope you have a great week, and we can't wait to see you again next time.